That's the issue. You're punishing the good people. You're keeping the guns in the hands of the bad people. It's not going to do anything. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day today. In light of the unfortunate Colorado nightclub shooting in Colorado Springs the night before last, President Biden's administration has come out and released a statement regarding its stance on gun violence, calling for more gun restrictions and the banning of assault weapons completely. So in light of this statement, I want to give my opinion on this, explain why I believe that the gun restrictions we have in place are sufficient in most cases, and why assault weapons absolutely should not be banned in the United States of America. So first of all, let's go ahead and read this statement from the White House. So for immediate release, November 20th, 2022, statement by President Biden on the deadly shooting in Colorado Springs. While no motive in this attack is yet clear, we know that the LGBTQ plus community has been subjected to horrific hate violence in recent years. Gun violence continues to have a devastating and particular impact on LGBTQ communities across our nation, and threats of violence are increasing. We saw it 6 years ago in Orlando when our nation suffered the deadliest attack affecting LGBTQ plus community in American history. We continue to see it in the epidemic of violence and murder against transgender women, especially transgender women of color. And tragically, we saw it last night in this devastating attack by a gunman wielding a long rifle at an LGBTQ plus nightclub in Colorado Springs. Places that are supposed to be safe spaces of acceptance and celebration should never be turned into places of terror and violence. Yet it happens far too often. We must drive out the inequities that contribute to violence against LGBTQ plus people. We cannot and must not tolerate hate. Today, yet another community in America has been torn apart by gun violence. More families left with an empty chair at the table and a hole in their lives that cannot be filled. When will we decide that we've had enough? We must address the public health epidemic of gun violence in all of its forms. I will come back to that statement right there. Earlier this year, I signed the most significant gun safety law in nearly 3 decades, in addition to taking other historic actions. But we must do more. We need to enact an assault weapons ban to get weapons of war off America's streets. Okay, and then he said he's praying for the people in Colorado. So, first of all, the statement about when will we decide we've had enough, we must address the public health epidemic of gun violence in all of its forms. Well, what does that mean? Okay? What does it mean to address the public health epidemic of gun violence? This is what it means, in my opinion, in light of truth and a foundation of truth. If we are going to address the public health epidemic of gun violence, what is underlying this issue? Okay, that's the question we have to ask. And it kind of reminds me of the whole medical system in the United States and in the world, where somebody walks into the doctor's office and they have, blood pressure issues or blood sugar issues or pain in some area of their body. And our doctors like to prescribe this medicine a lot of the times that treats the symptoms of these issues, but it does not take care of the actual problem itself that's underlying, that is causing the symptoms in the first place. Okay, and that's kind of what this assault weapons ban would do, in my opinion, because the underlying issue is a mental health issue in the country. Okay, I just saw that we had a statistic that said that 74 million Americans were on some form of psychiatric drugs. So that is the core issue. Okay, if we're going to address the gun violence issue, we need to address the mental health issue. But more importantly, are we going to enact any gun restriction laws? Are we going to do this? Because that comes down to what are you deciding? How are you deciding what guns you're going to ban? Because if we're talking about mass shootings, if we're talking about violence against LGBTQ plus people, the majority of mass shootings in America are committed by handguns. That's just a known fact. That's not even debated anymore. Okay, if you've ever watched a debate between a gun rights activist and a gun abolitionist, you will see these people will openly acknowledge, yes, handguns are responsible for the majority of mass shootings. And it's just illogical to me for an administration to take a stance on this issue, asking for an assault weapons ban, when the reality is the weapons used in these very type of attacks are handguns mostly. If you've ever watched a Steven Crowder Change My Mind segment on gun violence, you'll see him list off these statistics about, knives kill people more than guns, hammers kill people more than guns, blunt force objects kill people more than guns. So are we going to eliminate these things as well? That's the question, right? What is banning assault weapons going to do? I think, this comes down to this. If you're going to ban assault weapons, if you're going to try to ban assault weapons, what you're doing is you're going after the big scary thing, right? Because people think assault weapon, they think of military style weapon, they think of, AK-47 type guns. When the reality is that an AR-15, Yes, it has the capacity to, the bullets are a little bit more deadly than a 9mm bullet. But is the gun itself something that should be demonized, or should we demonize the people that are doing these crimes and their behavior? That's the first point. The second point I want to raise in this video is I just really do not like when a politician or an administration or anybody takes something so recent as this, because at the end of the day, I do want to say this. I fully express condolences to people involved in these shootings. We should absolutely have no shootings like this in the country, period. But with it being so recent, I absolutely have no respect for anybody, whether it's Republican or Democrat, but in this case, Democrat administration like Biden, taking this event and using it so soon to try to push an agenda. It is so disrespectful. It's so unkind. It is so unempathetic to these families to use this to push a narrative. And just because you think these families may agree with your point on this does not make it okay to do this, okay? If you want to use an example to try to push a policy, at least give it time out of respect for the victims. The third and final point I want to raise in this video is that eliminating assault weapons is going to do nothing except hurt legal, law-abiding citizens, legal gun owners, okay? And this is what I'm going to say about that. So if we take assault weapons off the street, let's say we ban the AR-15, which with assault weapons, you have to define them in the first place anyways, and nobody can really even define what it is. Oh, it's a military-style weapon. What is it, though? Is it AR-15? Because if that's the case, you're going to ban the most popular semi-automatic rifle in the country. Anyways, if we're going to ban assault rifles, this is what it's going to do. It's going to prevent the law-abiding citizens from being able to buy the guns themselves to protect others, to go hunting, whatever they want to do. And it's not only going to take the guns out of the hands of good people, it's going to allow the criminals to keep purchasing the guns, because the fact of the matter is this. Just like we've banned drugs, just like we've banned heroin, we've banned cocaine, they're illegal to possess in the United States of America, people still get their hands on these drugs. And criminals still get them, and the drug trade is booming and is bigger than ever right now. Look at the border. Look at fentanyl. Look what's going on with the drug trade. It is at the all-time peak it's ever been, money-wise, and drugs are illegal. So what are we going to do if we make guns illegal? Well, the reality is this: whether you agree that guns should be around or not does not matter at this point. We've manufactured so many guns in the world that they're going to be around for years to come. So it's just a reality that we have guns. Okay. So the fact that we have guns in existence means this: if we ban guns, the existing guns are still going to be around. They're not all going to be bought back by the government if they did that. They're not all going to be collected properly. The criminals are going to buy the guns in the black market. They're going to pay in Bitcoin. They're going to do these things. They're going to get their hands on them. And these insane people who should be in a mental institution are unfortunately going to keep trying to commit these acts of violence against people, right? That's the issue. You're punishing the good people. You're keeping the guns in the hands of the bad people. It's not going to do anything. So what is the solution? Because I don't like talking about problems all the time without offering solutions. In my opinion, this is the solution. If we want to have more safety in America, with America being the center of gun ownership, the most guns in the world are in America. With that being the case, how can we limit this? In my opinion, this is what needs to be done. At these clubs, and you could even say this, for a liberal administration, if they have statistics that show, LGBTQ groups are targeted more than the average group, the bars are targeted more than average bars with shootings, then have the city, have the government take a police officer, post him at the door. If you don't want him inside the club, at least put him at the door. I'm not saying you got to put him inside the club and kill the vibe and all that, but put him at the door. Take a cop and put him at the door. Or the company itself can hire armed security to be there in case something like this happens. Now, do we ideally, would we want to have to do this? No, but the fact is this: we live in an evil world. We live in a world where people are going to do bad things. And when there are people with guns that are good people to protect our community, the fact of the matter is that criminals not only do not get to do what they want to do, they don't get to kill as many people as they're trying to kill, but oftentimes they're even deterred from doing it in the first place. Okay, what was that? We had a church shooting about a year ago or 2 years ago in Texas, where a man was a law-abiding citizen, legally had his concealed carry permit, stood up in the church, saved, I think, 50 or 100 people, if not more, from a shooter because he took him down within seconds of shooting. The fact is this: we need modern solutions for modern problems. Banning things does not eliminate them, unfortunately, in the world. That's just how it works. So banning assault weapons is not the right move. We should not ban assault weapons, period, in my opinion. Do you think we should ban assault weapons? Do you think we should have more gun restrictions? What do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below right now. Like the video if you made it this far. Thank you for watching. Subscribe here if you are new to State in the Obvious. With that being said, I will see everybody next time. Peace out.